Good afternoon. Welcome to the September 9th, 2025 meeting of the Hingham Municipal Lighting Plant Board. This meeting is being held remotely or in person as an alternate means of public access pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2025 and all other applicable laws, temporarily amending certain provisions of the open meeting law. You're hereby advised that this meeting and all communications during this meeting may be recorded by the Town of Hingham in accordance with the open meeting law. If any participant wishes to record this meeting, please notify the chair at the start of the meeting in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20F, so that the chair may inform all other participants of said recording. Is there anybody besides the light plant who would like to record the meeting today? Okay, I see no one. So the first item on our agenda is a revisit to a discussion which we began at our last meeting, which is about the charges for what we charge customers or do not charge customers for the use of credit cards or bank withdrawals to pay their bills, how much that costs and the value of it for us. And I think where we left it, Joan, was maybe you were going to gather some overall information about how much we're spending on this. And
Yep.
so
What I did is I went through January through July of the current year to look at these numbers, and we had a little over 23,000 credit card transactions, about 21,000 EFT transactions.
okay.
I'm sorry?
It's about even, really, right?
Yeah, it's about 50-50, but we took in like 4 million on credit cards, and it was substantially less on the ACH. So I went through our fees, and our fee for credit card charges were a little over 70,000 for that time period. Okay. Michael had asked me about our lockbox payments as well. In the same time period, we had a little over 21,000 lockbox payments, which are just checks that are mailed into lockbox. And our fee there was a little over $7,000. So to summarize it, the lockbox is about 33 cents per transaction, which is checks only. The credit card fees, if you want to do it per transaction, is about $3 per transaction. And the ACH right now is about 50 cents per transaction. I looked at the town, and the town for the same time period had 14,000 transactions, substantially less, but they had 18 million in revenue, which is a lot higher. But they had 10,000 customers that did EFT and 4,000 on credit cards. So there's a big difference there, but they also charged their customers 2.99% for credit cards. But they still had, customers charged $45,000 for their credit card transactions at the 2.99%. I reached out to Invoice Cloud to see what our other alternatives are, and they had said we could also charge a fixed fee. The fixed fee is a tiered fee, and so for the first $500, we could charge $4.50, and a maximum cap up to $600 be $4.95. So after that, people would have to do multiple transactions. So I think our choices are to either go with
a fixed fee for credit cards in particular. Is that what?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
I think the only options we have is one, either go with a fixed fee structure or keep it the way it is, or go with a 2.99% for credit card fees and 50 cents for ACH EFT fees. But if I go back and calculate the 2.99%, our customers would have been charged $132,000 for the same time period, and we were charged a little over $70,000.
Say that again.
So
if
I apply the 2.99% fee for January through July,
our credit cards.
Yep, our customers would have paid a little over $132,000 in fees. Okay. We paid a little over $70,000 for the same time period.
So the Invoice Cloud can't go any lower than that on a fixed fee?
No. What happens is that, and I don't know if the town realizes that, but when they charge the fee, we're never going to see that revenue. So it's not like they give us the revenue, then we pay the charges. They keep the revenue.
Oh,
They keep all the revenue and then they
oh,
pay the fees associated with it, but the difference goes, they keep.
So they would keep the difference between the 132 and the 70.
Correct. Correct.
so that's not a way for us to recoup our charges, in short.
No, we would. They'd pay our charges, okay, but they keep the difference.
Between,
So if we have the 2.99%, okay, that our customers have to pay, they would have collected $132,000. Our fees for that time period were about $71,000.
mhm.
So they would keep the difference. I asked them if we could get the revenue and then pay our fees, and they said no.
Okay, that doesn't seem very advantageous to us and therefore to the ratepayers. I don't know if other board members have a different view of this. Mike or Tyler?
I would concur with that deduction.
Okay.
One thing that they did say though is that when you start charging the customers the credit card fee, they normally switch over to the ACH EFT.
I know that's what I do.
Yeah, I'm surprised that the town still, had 1.5 revenue still paid on credit cards, but that
Well,
tells,
you've got to consider that they're, what they're billing for, at least property tax wise, so that's, 4 figures. So that can be hard for people to come up with all in a whack, so they may use credit cards as a way of spreading that out.
right.
Okay, well, no, sorry, go ahead.
Questions?
Well, my question for the board is, based on this information, is anybody interested in considering making a change in our current policy? I guess not.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, I found this, thank you for doing that research, Joan. That is really revealing, and I appreciate having that information. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And we will continue to incentivize early payments by offering fee-free credit card payments. Okay, thanks.
Well,
Yep,
but hold on. I think we need to change the way we do things based on that information.
that's what I was asking. I said,
Yes.
based on that information, does anybody want to make a change in how we do things? And nobody
Yes.
said anything. So the answer is,
I said yes. Maybe you didn't hear me, Laura.
oh, okay. Carry on. Sorry, I didn't mean to get out ahead of you. What do you
Well,
propose?
I think we need to be more transparent so people know the fees that are being incurred and the potential savings of everybody switching to ACH.
So
is
your
that-
idea to
is that-
incentivize people to switch to ACH by telling them how expensive it is for the ratepayers for them to pay with credit cards?
Well, I think we need to pass some of those costs on, or we need to incentivize through additional charges, or maybe it needs to be a prerequisite for getting the 15% discount. I mean, it's clear that there's money to be saved here, and we're overpaying for these billing services. And it's only fair that everybody shares in that expense. I'm not saying we shouldn't offer them the ability to pay by credit card, but it shouldn't be subsidized by other ratepayers that are on ACH or choose to move over to ACH. I mean, Joan, that was a very in-depth analysis, a lot of numbers, but I think we need a proposal to the board on how we can better run our billing system.
My recollection from the last discussion is that it's not the way our billing system is set up right now, we don't have the option to offer people the early payment discount or not based on how they pay.
Right.
So under our current system, that's not
Current system.
So yeah, so
but are we not going to a new billing system in the foreseeable future, where we're going to combine this with the water bills?
Yeah, so I mean, the water bill is going to come in July. we're working to convert the water now to the Cogsdale system.
Right,
And so they'll be in the Cogsdale system that we have now come July 1st. The plan, again, that was a delay, obviously.
right.
So the plan is to, get them onto that billing system. We'll have both the water and electric on that one bill. Make sure everything is working correctly for probably a period of 6 months, and then make that decision, in conjunction with that, make the decision to either go to a new and improved Cogsdale system or another system, which
Right.
we've evaluated one system. But we haven't seen, I guess Cogsdale has a new version of their system that Joan is going to see in December. So we're hoping to be able to make some kind of a decision in, the spring on where, which way we move.
Does it make sense to delay this discussion until until we know what the new billing system is going to be and what its capabilities are? I don't know.
I would like to see an effort, at least an advertising awareness effort, to encourage customers to pay by ACH.
We could do some kind of a campaign, I guess, to get the information out there and see if we can encourage people to, on their own, to move to ACH.
Right,
The credit cards do offer us the ability to get some people that might be struggling to pay their bills with credit cards. But we can
right, but
certainly.
half of our customers are not struggling to pay the bills. I
Correct.
get
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. But we could probably we can definitely do some kind of a campaign to try to get that message out there and get people to voluntarily move to ACH.
How easy would it to be charged people the 2.99 on credit card transactions? I see other vendors doing that to HMLP, so there clearly is an industry incentive for people to pay by ACH and not credit card. Verizon, the phone company, does that. If you want their tiered discounts, you have to pay by ACH. They don't want to give money to the credit card companies.
Could I ask this, Mike? This is not a great forum for sort of starting from scratch to gin up a proposal. Could you get together with Joan and take a look at all of these things and come up with a proposal for changes that you'd like to make?
Sure.
That would be great. Shall we put that on the agenda for next month?
Yeah, we can put that on the agenda for next month.
Is that okay, Mike?
Sure.
Okay, great. Thanks for the research, Joan. I know it's going to help Mike when he sits down to think about what proposal he'd like to make. And we will just table this discussion until we have a proposal to think about.
Okay, Mike, let me know what works for you.
Okay.
So thanks. Sorry for accidentally moving on too fast from that, Mike. I think I misheard you, so my apologies.
No worries.
The next item on the agenda is approval of the meeting minutes for August 14th. Did everybody have a chance to look at those?
Yeah, I wasn't totally clear on the math and the rationale behind the credit card charges. So I'm reluctant to approve these minutes as written until we thrash this out a little bit more.
Yeah, when we get together with Joan, myself, you and Joan can take a look through it and make sure the numbers.
Yeah, I mean, if we put something out, then it's got to be accurate and correct,
Yep.
and somebody should be able to go through their bill and see the rationale behind it. But it didn't make sense totally to me when I looked it over.
Right, so the problem is the minutes are a record of what has already happened. So, but I really understand why you wouldn't want to put something that's not quite accurate out there in any form. So maybe we can delete just the section about how the credit card charges work if we're not confident that that's correct from the minutes, and then we'll catch up with it when we get back to it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, we can delete whatever we want out of the minutes, and then I'll send them out for approval again, once Joan and Michael meet, and we'll approve them next month.
Okay. Is that acceptable, Mike and Tyler?
Yeah, I had one other point on the minutes, but we can go through that. I can go through that with Tom. I think it was, if I recall correctly, on the PCA. I just want to make sure that my thoughts on the PCA are accurately reflected.
Okay. So this gives us an opportunity for you to redo that before we review the minutes again, right?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So we will also bump that to the next meeting for approval. And that brings us to the financials for July.
Brianna, can you share, do you have the financials? It says send a request to share.
You should be able to share.
Oh, okay, here it is. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. So obviously, July was a warmer month, and our revenue reflects that. Our net income for the month was 884,000, which we were budgeted to be about 486,000 in revenue. Unfortunately, we had rec revenue of 439, which I guess is not a bad problem, but it obviously increased the net income for the month to 884,000, or almost $885,000. So our year to date, we're at 3.2 million in net income. When you look at 24 and 23 and 24, about $1 million higher at this point. So our concern with the 8% is still there. And I guess, Joan, do you want to talk about your thoughts on where we're going to end up?
Yeah, well, I'm hoping to be below the 8%, but that's why we eliminated the PCA for the remainder of the year. And we also reduced our power cost, our fuel costs. We just have to let it work. Right now, it still looks very, very high, but we have to let the reduction in our revenue come from our, the reduction in our PCA and our fuel costs. So I'll continue to monitor it, but we have to give it, we just changed it for the month of August.
Yep.
So let's see how it goes from there.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from the public about our financials for this month?
My question is, I'm not quite understanding when we invoke the PCA and when we invoke a rate increase or a rate decrease, in which case the example here was a rate decrease of about 15% on the energy cost. How often do we do this? Are we constantly chasing our tail on the 8%? Is this an annual, a monthly?
Typically, we don't. Yeah. Typically, we don't change the PCA. We do that quarterly if we're going to do it.
Quarterly on the PCA.
Yeah. In this case, with the rec revenue much higher than expected, and having to recognize that revenue as it comes in now.
Right, and the rec revenue can be variable depending on the price of these recs.
Correct. Yeah.
It kind of makes Joan's job a little difficult, I think, here.
Definitely.
I recognize that.
Yeah, we try not to change the PCA. I think that the change in the PCA for this was the second quarter that we changed, I believe, Joan, right?
Yep.
We dropped it
Right,
last quarter, and then we dropped it again this quarter.
correct,
This quarter, we also dropped the energy charge as
Right.
well.
Right.
right. When we set our rates, I mean, these rates were set, when we did a rate study, 3 years ago?
Right.
We don't know what fuel costs are gonna be at that, at that time. So, we do the best guesstimate that we can, and then when our actual fuel costs come in, then we adjust it accordingly. And our power cost adjustment is, we can't predict what our costs are gonna be. We can just base it on the previous year and use E&E for our predictions of our current power costs. So that's why we have the PCA, for the flexibility. I mean, if we kept the PC, if we didn't have any variable components of the bill, I mean, right now would be coming in at higher than 8%. We need that
Right.
flexibility.
Right. The last bill we had did not show a PC item at all.
That's right. We zeroed it out for
It-
August.
Well, it wasn't zeroed out. It just wasn't on the bill. I mean, anybody looking at that item would wonder, where did it go?
It was zeroed out. That's why it
Okay.
wasn't on the bill.
Right, that's what
When it goes to zero, the PCA just goes off the bill.
right.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's a good thing to tell our customers that the PCA is zero. I think that reflects positively on us. So I wouldn't be in favor of deleting it. Zeroing out is fine, but I would
Yeah.
show it as a zero line item on the bill, because next month it could be there.
Yeah. Is
Or
that
next
something
quarter,
automated,
it could be
Joan, or is
there.
that?
Would have to
Uh,
change our bill template to do that, but it's doable, but everything's at a cost.
I understand.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm pushing towards when we do regenerate the bill template, when we include the water company data as well. My concern on the PCA and that the rate increases or decreases, maybe this is something that we should bring up to the 8%, the board that sets that, the state board, because people that are heating totally with electricity, with heat pumps, are liable to see larger charges at certain parts of the year, because that's when their heat load is there. So I think there's maybe a disproportionate amount of that being potentially allocated to those customers.
You mean
That's where I'm
in the
coming
sense that
from.
if the PCA happens to be higher during those months because we're trying to come in or lower, we're changing the PCA for reasons that don't have to do with the time of year, and that can
Correct.
impact, I see.
Correct. That's where I'm going on this.
I see.
And as more and more people adopt, I think it's something that we should understand and potentially bring up to the regulators. Maybe there's an annual adjustment for this that is a year behind, retroactive for the previous year. It's invoked in the following year. So it covers a complete heating and cooling season. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there, but that's a concern I have.
I'll just mention that blinding insight that I had at our last meeting suddenly, when I realized that when we add $100 million to our physical plant, that the 8% number is going to be more than twice what it is now. And we may no longer have to make so many changes so frequently in the PCA, which I agree is not desirable. It would be great if we can keep the PCA at a steady rate as much as possible, so that people can make predictions about what their bills are going to be, et cetera. So, but that's one thing that may happen before we could ever possibly get the DPU's attention to the question
Right.
of the 8%.
Right.
I agree. Yeah.
Okay, anything further on this? Questions or comments on the financials? Um, I do not see any, so moving along to the next item on the agenda is just updates on the transmission project and our capital projects.
Yeah, so the transmission project, I think I've sent them to you, the responses. We sent responses to the siting board for the last round of questions, both for the siting board and the interveners. So there was one intervener in Weymouth that had some questions that we responded to. So you should have copies of all those responses. The next piece of this is there'll be hearings September 29th, the 30th, and I believe Friday the 1st. Those hearings will be evidentiary hearings where the expert witnesses will be questioned by the siting board and by our lawyers regarding whatever information we've submitted to date on the project. Next week we have a few days of prep for those meetings, so it'll be busy for the next couple of weeks getting ready for the evidentiary hearings, the 29th and 30th and the 1st. After those hearings, I believe it's just a matter of waiting then for approval on the project, which we believe we'll hear in sometime in August of next year. So our plan would be to, after these hearings, start to work on the exact estimate for the project again, redoing our estimate to see where those costs are, and then come up with some kind of a plan to go to town meeting in the spring for bonding on the project.
Okay, great. Any questions or comments on the progress on the transmission line project at this point? Maybe I could just ask Elaine and Michael, if you could just shoot Tom an email, so he has your email, and then he can set up a meeting to go over this project from the beginning. It's fascinating, I promise you. You'll enjoy it. If there's nothing more on the transmission project, how are other capital projects going right now?
We'll let Mark give you an update on the capital projects.
Yeah, so we had the pre-construction meeting on the insulated changeout on the transmission line, the existing lines. We have the contractor on board, and we're actually working with the just trying to get the weekend or during the week when we'll be able to get flaggers for the train. That's really the big variable right now. Trying to line up the contractor and the flaggers so we can try to get a window. We're probably looking at a couple weeks worth of work, might impact a couple weekends where we'll be on the tracks. So that's that's the variable on that piece right now. So we still are anticipating, we've already put submittals in for the lines with Eversource. So we have our applications in, and it's going to be just narrowing down when we can do it based on flagger availability and then the contractor being able to make it work. So we are targeting October, so that's where we're looking to try to get it moving. So we're just trying to finalize that. I know the contractor submitted recently just all his insurance docs and whatnot to the Keolis for licensing for them to be on the track. So then there'll be some training they have to do. All the people will have to be trained to work alongside a railroad track. So there'll be a little bit of training there, but we should be in good shape to get this done this fall. So that's good. The other big project we have going is the 6-9 tie on the distribution side, where we've pulled the wire, we've energized the new wire. We just have to cut over the customers to the new wire. So that should be going in the next couple of weeks. So we're in pretty good shape there. And then we'll be removing the older wire. So those are really the two big jobs.
All the new conductors up now on that.
Yeah, they're
line.
all up and energized. So if you drove down Pleasant Street, you'd see the top side of it is the new wire, the largest size wire. And then the lower is still carrying the customers, but we have energized the new wire. Now we'll take those customers that have the taps and start bringing that up to the new wire and then be able to remove the old wire. So we'll only have the one set of lines up there, so. Elm Street, we're still being held up by the telephone. We have set a few of our poles out there, but we still need telephone to set some poles up on Elm Street for that other piece of the capital work plan. So we're still optimistic. It's not a lot of work once they get the poles done, but they got to get out there and do them for us. So pretty much all on the big capital projects.
So,
And just mention on the when we do the transmission insulator change out, the plan is that the contractor will do one side de-energized and the other side alive. So they'll go to each pole. So we'll be on one line for the duration of that project, with them working live line on one side of the pole.
Okay, so I'm confused. You're gonna replace the insulators on both lines?
Both lines.
Yeah, and so you'll do one line completely and then come back and do the other line? Is that the way?
No, they'll be going to each pole. They'll be doing one side of the pole de-energized, so that one side of the pole will be de-energized. The other side will be energized. They'll do that live.
Oh, terrifying. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm glad we have a bunch of really well-trained linemen. That's,
yeah.
Well,
I mean,
those aren't our linemen. They don't do that.
Oh, it's gonna
transmission
be
work.
contractors?
Yeah, this is a
yeah,
contractor.
this
that
is,
Oh, I
yeah,
see.
yeah, this is
Okay,
work
good.
they do regularly. And
Yeah.
so they'll de-energize one line. That'll allow them to go in on that side through to get to the energized side. So they'll push the line out, change the insulators and bring them in one at a time. So it's something they do all the time. And
so
they,
it'll be
you know,
it'll be zigzagged. Am I understanding that correctly?
what do you mean zigzag?
Going from one line to the
No,
opposite line.
Yeah, so the way it works on the transmission side, so we'll take out one line. We'll de-energize one line, we'll ground that line, they'll work that line de-energized. At the
So it'll
same
be
time,
completely, one line will be completely out.
One
You'll
line
have
will
a
be
light
out.
load because of the time of year.
yeah, one line will
So
be
there'll
out.
be more than enough capacity for the town. So with one line out of service, you will completely do the other line. And then
Yes,
vice
with one-
versa.
No,
Yeah, so with one line out, all our customers will be on the additional line. When we take one line out, we will work that line de-energized. At the same time, at each structure, we will do the other line energized. So the customers will be energized, the line will be energized, and they'll swap out the insulators with that line energized. When they look at the railroad tracks, you can do it one of two ways. They're looking at saying, okay, we have a short window on the tracks. Rather than picking up and moving to the next structure, it's easier just to do one dead and the other one live. It makes it quicker.
Okay,
And then, so the only ones that might be done differently are when you get into a corner pole, then they might take one line out, do it, de-energize, put that line back, then take the other one out. But that's,
okay,
so other than that, it's a pretty easy transfer. There's not a lot. It's light for light on an insulator, so there's not a lot of work. It's going to take longer just to get to work between the trains. That's really what the big
Yeah.
window is,
yeah, okay, I understand. And the limiting factor right now, or what you're waiting for, is the flaggers. Which I assume are coming from MBTA.
Yeah, and you always have variability there, because the MBTA also, if they all of a sudden have an emergency, now all your work goes to hell. So it's kind of, there's a lot of variability, but we're trying to really hit it with the weather, and you look at on the weekend. So we can do it. Like there's about 7 or 8, I think there's 8 structures that are going to be impacted with the train. There's 17
Right.
total. So we're going to try to work it with the flaggers when we can, and then jump on the other lines, on the other structures when we can't get on the track. So,
Yeah.
so it's
It'll be a carefully coordinated dance. I love it.
yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot of, whenever you're dealing with that railroad, if it wasn't for the railroad, it'd be simple,
Yeah.
but
Thanks for the explanation.
Yes, thanks.
you're welcome.
Good luck. Okay, and anything else on the capital projects while we have you, Mark?
No, I
Okay,
think
great.
that's about it. I think we're in pretty good shape on, with the exception that Elm Street, just with the telephone for that short piece, so.
Any questions or comments on the capital projects updates?
So
we expect to be done by the end of October. Is that correct, Mark?
Yeah, we're hoping to be done with the transmission line end of October. We won't run into any loading in November either, but we're hoping we can shoot and get it done in October before
Good
we
news.
get weather.
Okay, great. If there are no other comments on capital projects, I think we're at the end of our agenda, so I want to thank everybody for being here. And I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Laura, can I just mention one other thing before we leave? We do have
Please do.
the open house planned for October 4th. So Brianna is starting the advertising on that, so.
Okay.
Just want to mention that.
Great. Looking forward to that. Okay, thank you. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, Mike,
Aye.
Tyler,
Aye.
Laura, aye. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
Thank
Have a
you.
great
Good
night.
Take care, everyone.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Bye.